everyone, and the reason I'm saying happy Adidas Day, if you didn't already know, Tennessee has made the switch back to Adidas from Nike after spending 10 years with the check mark. And now it is one of those deals where some people are happy about it, Matthew. Some people absolutely despise this idea. But I want everyone to know right off the rip, I'm 100% for it. And Matthew, the one thing about today's show, we're coming up on the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day to everybody. And happy birthday to my mother. Her birthday is also on the 4th of July. But today's going to be a very calm show. What do you have to say to that, Matthew, considering I try to bring the energy as much as I can every single week?
I don't know. I don't know if you can be calm.
You don't think I can be calm?
Yeah, especially your 2 Diet Cokes deep, Body Armor energy drink.
Three.
3. I stand corrected.
Well, you said you don't know how I'm going to stay calm. Well, you're absolutely correct, Matthew. You know why?
Wow.
Because now that Tennessee's with Adidas, I don't have to look at that stupid font anymore. It's over. It's done. It's gone. We don't ever have to look at it ever again.
Praise the Lord. They all said.
Amen. Still getting over a little bit of congestion from this past weekend. Of course, Caden Poston had some business to attend to tonight, so, we're going to go on and give you the best show that we can. But, Matthew, I want to take you through a timeline of when the Adidas stuff started at Tennessee, what it was before, what became Nike at Tennessee, and what we can look forward to after the fact. So the after the fact stuff, we're going to get into more so in the last segment of the show. We're only going to do an hour tonight because, quite frankly, I don't think I have it in me tonight to go for 2 hours. I'm still recovering from some sickness I had this past weekend. But, let's start, Matthew, before we went to Adidas. So if you've tuned into the show in the past few weeks, obviously the new studio, we love it. It's awesome. Almost gives it like a classic wrestling vibe in a way. Love that sound. That's the best sound in the world right there, brother. But if you notice this jersey that we have on the wall in previous videos, that is the old jersey that we had in the early 90s. And with that, that was made by a company out of Knoxville called Sports Bell. So Sports Bell actually started making Tennessee jerseys based out of Knoxville. They look super clean. The numbers are huge, which I love when we got huge numbers again. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. But Sports Bell did a lot of work for Tennessee, even after the Adidas switch, because even though Adidas is making, its move in the jersey game, alterations still have to be made. Well, we still had Sports Bell to count on that. So back when the switch to Adidas happened, everybody remembers the big numbers. Everybody remembers the black outline on the white on the white jersey with the orange number. Fantastic. Everybody remembers all those times where it switched from one orange to the next orange, one orange to the next orange, and it's because they had an issue back then with the material of the uniforms. Something can look Tennessee orange in this room right now, but if we were to go outside, it might look yellow with the material of uniforms they had back then. Because the biggest thing that Tennessee wanted to do in this juncture is to get the orange right. They wanted to get it right. And there were a couple times, especially in 2011, during Derek Dooley's second year, the orange was yellow. We just did not get the orange right. It was a new material of jersey that had just been introduced the year prior. We did it halfway through the season. Next year, they're yellow. And then the next year was probably the best uniform that Adidas had put out. It was that perfect classic look. The numbers were a little bit bigger. The orange jersey, perfect. The white jersey, perfect. And just the perfect outline on the orange number. You couldn't ask for a better uniform. Now, fast forward to Butch Jones' first year. They tried to implement the word Tennessee across the chest of the jersey. That's not Tennessee. That's not Tennessee. And the sales rep for Adidas at the time just did not present a good idea from that point on. The last 2 years of the Adidas contract, there were no good ideas given. The original gray jersey, the original smoky gray, was fine. Just didn't have the smoky gray helmets go along with it. Now, the next year, kind of returned the jerseys to normal, but not really. And then they try to introduce this smoky gray uniform, Matthew. It was a gray jersey with orange checkers on the shoulders, and even Butch Jones told them no. And this man said yes to the one quarterback on his roster that didn't make the NFL. What a shame.
That's crazy.
But fast forward to Nike, everyone's excited. It's like, okay, we're moving away from Adidas. Their fan apparel wasn't the best at the time. Nike's was better. At first, everything is awesome. The polos feel great. The t-shirts feel great. The hoodies feel great. Everything's just awesome with Nike. But then you look at the uniforms. And you start looking at it, and it's like, why is the number 1 so skinny? Why is the number 4 open at the top? And why does the number 7 look very skinny? Some of the other numbers look normal. They were still skinnier, but they looked somewhat normal. But it was those 3 numbers, they just stood out. It's like, those just don't look good. Then the fan apparel started getting bad. Like, really bad. Matthew, they had a few polos in the last few years that came out. You might as well have turned a sheer curtain into a shirt and put a collar or put a collar on it. Like, it was awful.
I've wore a couple of the shirts like that. Like, not Tennessee, but like just a shirt that's just bad quality.
Yes.
And it's like, it just ruins your day. Really. Mm-hmm. Like, if you walk around with like just a low quality shirt, I don't know. Maybe this doesn't affect everybody, but for me, it's just if I'm wearing high quality clothing, my whole day goes better. I'm more productive at work. You know, it's just it gets me going.
Well, it's because you want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
That's the big thing is comfort. I don't want to be sitting in Neyland in the middle of September when it's 100 degrees outside with sweaty knees and a sweaty back in an uncomfortable T-shirt.
No.
Or polo.
And especially if they're going to charge the prices they do, you better be getting something good.
Well, that was the biggest thing is the prices that people were paying for these and then getting bottom tier quality. I think that rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. But then there were fans, it's like, have you ever met somebody, Matthew, that will just die on the hill that Applebee's is fantastic?
Maybe for some other food franchises, you know. Like they swear by Olive Garden or something like that, yeah.
But a lot of people think it's just garbage. But there's people that will die on the hill that this is a fantastic place. There's people that will die on the hill that Nike is the best out there, when in actuality that it's not. And if you want any proof of that, go look at the Jordan brand shoe, the Jordan 1. Up until about 2017, 2018, they were using real leather to make those shoes. And the Jordan 1 is the hottest collector's shoe of all time. I have a ton of Jordan 1s. Post 2018, when they started getting really cheap, they started using the fake leather. And you could tell right off the rip that they were not good quality shoes. But they were still charging what they did for the good Jordans.
You know, I'm a tech guy, right? I think of Nike as like the sports version of Apple. So Apple, you know, you have a MacBook, you have an iPhone. Mm-hmm. Their prices are not cheap.
No.
But a lot of the times they just have superior products. But you do get duds with Apple. I mean, they release a piece of hardware or something or whatever, and it's just not good. I mean, there's just better alternatives out there. And I don't know. I think maybe because they've collaborated in the past, maybe that's why I made that correlation. But you know.
Do you think a lot of the time, too, it's just because you're so embedded into the system at this point that you don't want to move away from it?
Well, yeah, that's, you know, and I see that correlation with technology and apparel brands, you know, because you have people out there that they're a diehard Nike, they're a diehard Apple user. Everything they have is Apple, me and you included.
I mean, my wrist even. Look at that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's how it is with the apparel. Like, you have some people, they brand their whole identity around a certain type of clothing.
Mm-hmm.
think Under Armour would be like the Android, if we're going in tech terms here.
Technically, yes. But, honestly, like, I don't know. Because everyone just looks at Adidas now and it's like, ugh. But the thing is, you look at basketball history, Adidas has a really good lineup of basketball uniforms and basketball shoes. And right now, I'm pretty sure Adidas is making the best basketball shoe on the market. And then...
You think they're kind of underrated?
Adidas?
Yeah.
I think they're the most underrated brand in the United States. Because people are usually going Nike or Under Armour. It's like, you go to, let's go to Walmart here, for example. You'll see people wearing Nike shirts.
You'll see people wearing pajamas.
Yes. And then you'll see people wearing Under Armour. It's rare that you see somebody just out in public just like wearing like a full Adidas garb, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you see it with Nike.
You see it with Nike, you see it with Under Armour.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, and the Adidas stuff I've bought in the past few years, dude, especially the golf stuff, it is good quality stuff. I'm just like, I'm not going to pay for Peter Millar. I'm not going to pay for Cutter and Buck. I'm just going to buy Adidas. It's cheaper and it feels just as good.
That was my next question. What's the pricing on Adidas stuff compared to Nike or Under Armour or something?
Well, the one thing about Adidas that's really nice is I get a huge military discount, like a lot more than what I do with Nike, for example. So most time it's 30% off with Adidas. Sometimes they'll run a deal where it's 40% off. And I mean, that you start getting into shoes and like polos and stuff like that, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I actually looked too, because Penn State's already released their stuff. Like all their fan apparel. Tennessee has not yet. And why we decided to make a grand entrance into it, I don't know. But the way I look at that, they're releasing the stuff on July 10th. That's 10 days of sales they're missing out on, is what I see that as.
I mean, people are going to buy it regardless, I think.
Well, that, and they've got so much Nike stuff that it's 60% off right now. If you
Will you still buy it
Nike?
with it 60% off?
No.
No?
No.
Because it's still probably going to be expensive, even though it's most of the way marked down.
I would rather shove bamboo up underneath my toenails than to buy another Nike product.
Clip that.
I mean, it is what it is. Which, by the way, I'm actually getting, because we're going to talk about this a little bit more in the final segment, but we actually do have merch that's going to launch for Jake Miller Sports Talk in collaboration with Campbell County High School Athletics. Now, we're going to explain more of that later in the show, but Matthew, I'm also thinking about getting us some Adidas branded show gear.
Ooh. Okay.
How you like them apples?
I'll eat them apples up all day long.
Yeah, like the good, like the Granny Smiths.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are really good.
Golden delicious for me.
But, you know, I did get a chance to look at some of the stuff that Penn State had put out earlier in the day. And if Tennessee fans will just give it a chance, the ones that are like just so against it right now, just give it a chance. Because if you go to Fanatics, go to Penn State stuff, and look at the new stuff that just dropped, Matthew, I can't wait to have that in orange and white and to have a power tee on it. Because they have stuff like, you know, what I'm wearing right now. You know, long sleeve shirt with a hood. I love those. We are getting one from Adidas, and it's only like the Nike one, I think was running upwards of $75. The Adidas one's like $50. So I'm going to try to get it on adidasshop.com. I wouldn't use my military discount. So run that. But, you know, at the end of the day, guys, Adidas is not the same Adidas that they were in 2014 and 2013. They're a completely new identity. As a matter of fact, this past year, you had both teams in the college football final both wearing Adidas. That has not happened. Actually, no. It may have never happened. Because Tennessee was the last school to wear Adidas and win a national championship in football. That was in 1998. 28 years later, you have two Adidas teams playing, and Indiana was the first Adidas team to win a football national championship since Tennessee. So, yeah. Wow. But the point I want to make here, Matthew, a lot of people are going to say that kids won't come to Tennessee now because we're not a Nike school. I'm sorry, Matthew, but if someone's focus, excuse me, is on what brand we're wearing and not what we do, I don't want the kid anyway. I just don't. But, at the same time, you look at this, and people that have actually played the sports that have been to some of these tournaments, because another thing, too, that I learned when I was at MTSU, we had a guy in the fraternity, he was on the basketball team. And the one thing that he actually informed me on was the fact that you actually get more stuff with Adidas than what you do Nike. Because he was wishing that MTSU was an Adidas school because he would have gotten more stuff. Adidas just supplies more to the teams. And that's obvious with the deal that we just signed. We just signed the most lucrative apparel deal in the history of college football with what we just signed. Would you take Adidas for $20 million, Matthew?
$20 million. So I would get $20 million, and Adidas gets to use
Per
my
year.
brand and likeness per year. Okay, and they get to make money off of the merchandise. Do I make any more money off the deal? With
You get
merchandise?
royalties on everything orange or with a T on it.
I mean, if I'm the University of Tennessee, if that's the best deal I got, I'm taking it.
Because Nike was only paying us $5 million.
Really?
Adidas paid us $20 million. And part of the deal, too, I think Adidas, honestly, they want to make Tennessee like their flagship school. Whereas Nike has Oregon, Adidas wants that with Tennessee.
I think it's a pretty sweet deal.
I think so, too. Guys, I want to give a quick shout-out, too, to our friend Weston Brown with eXp Realty. Weston's been in the business now for over a decade, serving Campbell County surrounding areas. Actually, believe it or not, Matthew, he's done some deals down in Alabama as well.
Ooh.
So anything that you need as far as your real estate concerns, whether you're buying or you're selling. Selling is the big thing because Weston is offering rates lower than anyone else in the area, maybe even the state. He might even be offering the lowest rates in the country at this point. And he is stuck to that, and he's not going to change that anytime in the near future. So if you need help buying or selling your home, be sure to call our friend Weston Brown with eXp Realty at 423-494-6504. That's 494-6504. Stay with us. When we return, we're going to hear from Adam Sparks, the Knoxville News Sentinel, coming up right here on WLAF.
Let's talk about Slick's Barbershop. At Slick's, they believe that getting a haircut shouldn't just feel like another errand on your list. It should be something that you actually look forward to. Whether you're coming in for a classic cut, a tight fade, or a traditional straight razor with a hot towel, they don't rush the process. They take the time to do it right. They got Nelson, Skylar, and 7 in the chairs. And they are dedicated to delivering top-tier work every single time. If you want to step it up, ask about the Manor Special. It's the full treatment. Hair, beard, eyebrows, and a splash of premium cologne to finish it off. They also do a great job on the father and son package, which is perfect for keeping you and the young man looking razor sharp together. More than the cuts, it's about the atmosphere. It's a place to sit back, talk, laugh, and walk out feeling brand new. They bring that classic barbershop tradition to the modern day. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can skip the wait and secure your spot online at slicksbarbershop.com. Stop by and see them at 1409 Jacksboro Pike. Looking sharp, feeling confident, that's how I feel. They'll see you in the chair. Look, folks, whether you're driving out to the big game, hauling the camper across Campbell County for a weekend tailgate, or taking the pontoon out to Norris Lake, your ride takes an absolute beating. The road, the dirt, the lake grime, the spilled energy drinks, it all adds up, and frankly, it just looks sloppy. You need a professional defense, and that's exactly where Blue Detailing comes in. Located right here in Jacksboro, they're your premier heavy-hitting auto detailing service. What I love about the crew at Blue Detailing is the sheer unbeatable convenience. Don't have time to drop your truck off at the shop? It's non-issue. They offer full pickup and delivery services, so you don't have to miss on a single minute of the pregame show. And it gets better. They have a dedicated mobile service. If your boat is already docked down at Indian River Marina or your RV is parked and set up for the season, guess what? Their mobile crew is standing by. Cars, trucks, RVs, boats, They run the table. I'm not the only one throwing flags for these guys either. They boast a flawless 100% recommendation rating from their customers. They are always open, always working, and always ready to make sure your vehicle looks like a first-round draft pick. Don't let your ride the bench looking like that. Get on the schedule today and give Blue Detailing a call at 423-912-2974. That's 423-912-2974. You can also reach out to them at bluedetailing@gmail.com. Make the right play. Call Blue Detailing and tell them Jake sent you. Back here on Jake Miller Sports Talk, Jake Miller, Matthew Moore, Caden Poston, cruising along with you on a beautiful Thursday here in Campbell County. Pleased to be joined by our friend Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel and knoxnews.com. Adam, how are you, sir?
It's good. Good to be on. Midsummer. Always like the summer because football's close, but football's not here yet. And that's sort of the best time.
And we are getting there. And of course, stuff's dropping this week, and then we get some reveals next week. Tennessee making the big switch back to Adidas after spending the past 10 years with Nike. And Adam, this is something that's got fans a little divided. You got some people that are all for it because they miss the tradition that we had in the 90s and how the uniforms just never changed. They were all the same, a couple minor tweaks here and there. Maybe didn't get the orange right a couple of times, but there's also a couple of people out there that absolutely despise the idea of switching back to Adidas. What has been the most feedback that you've got, and where is it leaning towards in your peripheral?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I talked to when the decision was still up in the air or had not become official yet, I'm talking about a year ago, most people that I talked to didn't like the idea. They wanted to stay with Nike. They preferred Nike. They thought, they had some bad memories of Adidas before. Ever since it's become official, I think maybe there's been a number of those people that have been more accepting of it. Here's the thing: is the uniforms that come out next week that they release, those designs are going to be from Tennessee. Whether they're going to be Nike or Adidas, the 26-27 uniforms were going to be fully designed by Tennessee. The only difference is that Nike was in charge of matching the colors before, obviously the orange, which is the sticking point. And now Adidas is going to be in charge of that. And I know a lot of people have bad memories of some of those bad shades of orange before, but it was a painstaking process Tennessee went through. They looked at mountains of fabric samples, and different oranges were shipped to them. I talked to the creative team, and during this process last fall, they would take orange, prototype uniforms and take them out into Neyland, into Food City Center, and look at them under the lights and look at them in daylight out in Neyland and see what they look like, trying to make sure they get the orange right. So I guess we'll see if they accomplish that.
And that's one of the biggest challenges that Adidas faces, and really, Nike had to face as well, because back in the day, because there were different materials of uniforms back then, now we've got the more tech fit, like almost like a spandex material going into the jerseys, obviously to make it harder for somebody to tackle you. But back in the day, they had this almost like silky, they called it Dazzle was the name of the material. And the question became a lot of those times, do you want it to be Tennessee orange or do you want it to look Tennessee orange? So hopefully we're getting the look of Tennessee orange, not just it being Tennessee orange, because as we've seen in 2011, for example, the home uniforms and the numbers on the away uniforms almost looked as if they were basically yellow.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Pantone 151C, the application of it, looks different if it's a slicker surface like a jersey versus what you may see on a basketball uniform. But softball's different, baseball's different. How much cotton is in the uniform makes it different. They had to figure out if the orange in volleyball would be the same orange that is in football. So there's a lot to it. Yeah, you're right. It's not just picking the Pantone and putting it on there because the application is just quite different. I tend to think that the people that are optimistic about this will accept the uniforms. And the people that are pessimistic about it will not. I think both people are sort of already in their camps but before we even see things released.
I mean, it's almost like you got McDonald's people, you have Wendy's people. It's like, which one's better? Some people will just never,
Yeah.
they'll never change their mind no matter what. But of course, obviously the fans aren't going to be the ones wearing the uniforms on the field. But of course, we've seen how many millions of dollars get spent at, whether it be the Vol shop at Alumni Hall, wherever it may be. Now, from a fan apparel perspective, if you shop anywhere, if you're in a town that has an Adidas school and you go to their bookstore, you go to their version of Alumni Hall, I've noticed that the quality of the Adidas stuff when it comes to like the polos and the quarter zips, I feel like Adidas has the upper hand in that, but not everybody's buying those. A lot of people are just buying the t-shirts. And there's not really much of a difference there when it comes to that. So as far as the fan reaction, do you think we'll see about the same number of apparel sales or fan apparel sales than we would see with Nike, or do you think it'd be about the same?
Well, I do think the jersey sales will be pretty good early on because this is a 10-year contract. So, are you compared to year to year or are you compared to decade to decade? I think that's the question because if you were buying Nike stuff a year ago, you kind of already knew that Nike was on its way out. So I think the sales probably would be lower than the newer sales of Adidas stuff coming. It also depends on when you buy it. Like, technically the release day, I know there's some stuff already floating out there, but technically the release date for in stores and online is supposed to be July 10th. So next Friday. It'll be polos, it'll be t-shirts, I believe it'll be jerseys. It won't be shoes yet. Those will come, the sideline shoes will come slightly later, I think maybe in August. You're not going to see the individual apparel, like individual player apparel until I think into the season. So it's going to be, there's going to be a rush of sales, I think, early on. But then you're going to see new products in August and September. And so I think that's another way you have to look at to judge it.
And of course, Adam, the biggest difference I think fans are going to see with the switchover, obviously the change in the number font. And there's been people that have been very critical, i.e. me, of how the number 1 looked, how the number 4 looked, and how the number 7 looked on the Nike jerseys. And then we get this, supposedly a leaked picture this past Monday. And it's like, okay, if that's it, I'm perfectly fine with it. Because if you go on to Adidas Team Builder and you see the font for the 4 and the 7 in the font that was used in the supposed leak, I think a lot of fans are going to be very happy about that just because it looks like 90s Tennessee again.
Okay, that's one of those things that I have heard. There is a segment of people that were critical of the Nike font. I haven't picked up on what exactly that was though. What did you not like about those numerals with Nike that you potentially like with Adidas?
So obviously, being a 90s kid growing up, I think that my big thing with them is number one, they were skinnier for one. And then the 1 almost seemed like they were trying to almost mimic the Chicago Cubs one, but take the post off at the bottom per se. And then the 4, I didn't like how it was opened instead of being closed. And then the 7, kind of the same as the 1. I felt like it was just very skinny. So I'm one of these people, I love big numbers. And, obviously if the white uniform gets dropped next week and there's a black outline on that orange number 7, I'm going to be inconsolable because I'll be the happiest human on the planet for the next 5 business days.
I like the black outline just because I like the visibility. I want to be able to see the number. I do remember the ones, I think you mentioned it before, was it 2011 or so, when there was the numbers in the jersey, the colors are sort of blended together. I want it visible. I haven't really thought about the font, but I do like the black outline. But it is funny because I asked that specifically because if you ask different segments of the fan base, you will hear different complaints about different things. But I don't feel like it's a unified complaint about what they like about Nike or dislike about Adidas or vice versa. So I always find that interesting that people have it probably is generational. You mentioned seeing it in the 90s. So that's a that's the memory of this is when things were good. And it wasn't just then. I think it's what highlights do we watch and relive, and what does that, what do those uniforms look that we've seen so many times over the years versus the ones we would like to forget.
Absolutely. And, I think, jumping back to, what Adidas has done in the past, there are some bad memories there. And people always go towards the gray uniform that we were going to release that had the checkers across the shoulders. I will agree that was absolutely terrible. But I do think Adidas actually got the uniform almost as perfect as you could get it in that Tyler Bray Jr. year when you had Cordero Patterson and Justin Hunter and Michael Rivera on that offense. I felt like that was almost the optimal orange. And then it was perfect with the away uniform because the outline on the orange number was just perfect enough.
See, this is another generational thing. I think a lot of people that I've talked to of like the age-wise, let's say 60s and older, hate all the grays. They don't like grays or dark mode for that matter. Very traditionalist. I actually like dark mode, but also am pretty fond of the Lane Kiffin original dark mode. Just the memory there. I don't think they pulled off the grays well. Now, the one you're talking about, I think that was probably a pretty decent one. I don't know. Every year when they release the smoky grays, I look at it and think, it's all right. Obviously, this is all about merchandise. It's about selling those different colors. Selling merchandise in all the different colors. I understand why they do it, but I don't know. I like the idea of the grays. I've never loved any of the grays. I will tell you, when I was doing the interviews for our piece on the Adidas contract and how the uniforms were designed, I did ask about the Summit Blues because initially they said, hey, next, I think it's next Wednesday is when the Summit Blues are released. And I said, whoa. There's going to be some Summit Blue in football uniforms. And they quickly said, oh, no, not football. Which I think that's another dividing point among the fan base. Those that like that blue, but others that like that blue, but don't think it should be with a men's sport. And so that's another contentious spot. But yeah, I'm sort of lukewarm on any of the grays. I think it's harder also to pull off a good gray uniform, and those won't be released. The smoky gray Adidas won't be released until later in the season. They won't be on this initial release.
Absolutely. Talking with Adam Sparks from the Knoxville News Sentinel and KnoxNews.com. And Adam, you had actually mentioned the Lane Kiffin era dark mode jerseys, and a lot of people forget those were just kind of thrown together. And even though it said Adidas on the jersey, it wasn't actually an Adidas jersey. That was actually something done by a local print shop that they had actually had to basically make the screen for and just get it on. So it's like, okay, we need these jerseys in about 5 days. How can we do it? Can we do it? And somehow it just happened.
Yeah, necessity, mother of inventions, I guess. Right? That's they needed them, they got them, and that's it. I do like some of the dark modes. I think those are usually done well. But the problem too is there's only some colors don't pair well with orange, and I think black pairs better with orange. Obviously, we have a holiday with those colors. I just don't think that gray does necessarily very well. That's just my own take. But also, I'm partial to Stormtrooper. I like all white and just accented colors, which, by the way, Penn State released on July 1st. Penn State actually released their Adidas uniforms, and they look classic and really looked exactly the same as what their Nike uniforms were. But Tennessee has a classic look, but they do sort of dance around that line of using traditional colors and traditional uniforms because they're very traditional, well-established program. They sort of dance on that line and having something new, and that's sort of a tough balance to pull off.
Absolutely. And you and I are one and the same on a lot of those things. And then we're going to switch gears now and talk about the situation. A lot of people are dubbing it the Chaz Coleman saga. And a lot of people at first wanted to compare it to the Boo Carter situation. And from what all has been put out, it doesn't seem like those two are the same at all. So, Adam, if you don't care, just give our fans a little bit of insight and what you know about the situation.
Yeah, I'll say this. Yeah, a lot of people have put together the Nico situation, the Boo Carter situation, and the Chaz Coleman situation. And I understand why they do, because there's all frustration over guys not showing up to a practice or a workout or whatever. But I would say pre-NIL era, we would not put those incidents together. Most of the frustration over those three incidents and the pairing together of them is because it has to do with NIL money. All three of those guys, we understand, had a high NIL price, and so people look at it as losing an investment in all three instances. Chaz Coleman is different than those two. He was here for January but missed some workouts. He was here for about a week of spring practice, and there was a no-show after that. His absence after that was sort of excused, at least discussed to some extent. He was at very few workouts and team meetings after that into the spring. They gave him sort of a leave of absence. He was late coming back for summer workouts. And I would say internally they knew, and we sort of knew in the media, that this was over. He was never going to play for Tennessee. I'd say we all knew that probably around May. And he's been out of their plans, I would say, since about that time. They just had to sort of dot I's and cross T's. Some of that is sort of a legal matter, a liability matter. The way that they've termed it is a medical disqualification. You hear rumblings of that it's mental health. I've heard some of the talk that it is linked to maybe a concussion he had late in his time at Penn State that would maybe explain some of his odd behavior and his absences. I don't know if that's legitimate or not, and I don't know Chaz Coleman. He wasn't here long enough to even do formal interviews with the media. But they termed it medically disqualified. Now, in the NCAA parlance, that's a mutual agreement. So he has to sign a form that says he agrees that he should be medically disqualified. So that happened. If he stays enrolled, I believe he can remain on scholarship. That is if he stays enrolled, but he won't count against the roster number for Tennessee, which is an important distinction.
Absolutely. Good insight on that, Adam. And right off the rip, got questions starting quarterback. What do you see Tennessee doing as far as their record goes for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, the quarterback thing is the big question that kind of answers that. If Tennessee has poor quarterback play, they could go 6-6. They could go 7-5. If they have good quarterback play, they could win 9 games or so. I mean, I think that's how much is on the line with quarterback. That's with a lot of teams, but I think it's even more so with the Josh Heupel team. Do they have a quarterback on their roster that could be a starter for a 9-win playoff contending team? I don't know. They weren't so sure that they did back in January, which is why they tried to go get Sam Levitt and others. I think we can't forget that they went into the portal to try to find a quarterback who could be a playoff contending quarterback this season because they weren't convinced they had one on the roster with Faison Brandon and George McIntyre. That didn't work out. They didn't get their guy. They stuck with what they have. I don't think today they know who their quarterback is going to be. They may feel leanings one way or another, but I don't think they know. I don't think either quarterback knows. That's a little scary if you're a Tennessee fan and certainly a Tennessee coach. But there's still time for this thing to play out. And Josh Heupel has rarely had poor quarterback play. So I think whoever they put out there, there's going to be a plan and an execution that is good enough. But good enough maybe 7 or 8 wins. And I'm probably hovering around that right now. If I gun to my head, I'm saying this is an 8-4 team. But with a big question mark at quarterback and a really difficult schedule, I think it's hard to go much higher than that.
Absolutely. Good stuff, Adam. Thank you so much for your time. Tell us where to find you on social media.
You can find our stories on knoxnews.com. You can find my coverage and me on social media on Twitter at Adam Sparks.
All righty. That is Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel. Thank you so much for your time, Adam. We'll talk soon.
Yep, good to be on.
Stay with us. Jake Miller Sports Talk continues right after this.
Charlie's Pizza in Jacksboro is my favorite place to get my pizza for every Tennessee and Campbell County game day. Let me tell you a little bit about Charlie's, okay? First of all, they've been in business since 1976. That is 50 years of serving Campbell County and ensuring you get the best possible experience when it comes to your game day cuisine. If you want to know what to get, it's simple. Get just the standard pepperoni pizza, but then there's a little kick that you can add to it. And what you want to do is you want to add buffalo sauce, red pepper flakes, and an extra layer of cheese. That's Jake's way. That's the best way to get your pizza. Charlie's Pizza, Jacksboro, Tennessee, 423-562-0116. And let them know you heard about them right here on Jake Miller Sports Talk.
America's best pizza is just right here in Campbell County. People from all over the country travel to Campbell County for Charlie's Pizza. Maybe it's the handmade crust. Maybe it's the fresh ingredients. Or maybe it's just the friendly service and good times. Come see for yourself and find out what makes Charlie's Pizza the best around.
This is Joe Evans from Charlie's Pizza. We've been open since 1976, and we have the best pizza in town, so come down and see us.
Let's talk about something we've all experienced, but maybe you don't think about quite enough. You are simply not the same you when you're too hot or too cold. Think about it. When you're in a room just sweltering in sweat, or if you're wrapped up in layers just trying to stay warm, how well are you really focusing? Research actually backs this up. Studies show that working and living in a comfortable temperature always actively increases your cognitive function, cuts down on silly mistakes, and completely eliminates the physical distractions of fighting the climate in your own house. If you want to be in the best mood, the most productive, let's face it, the most patient version of yourself, you have to prioritize your everyday comfort. That means leaning on our friends at Martin and Epler to take care of your heating and air needs. They're the trusted professionals in their field, and they know exactly what it takes to keep your home feeling perfect. And listen, you absolutely do not want to wait in the dead humid of the summer to make sure that you have your air conditioning fixed when it's on its last legs. A mid-July breakdown is a miserable experience and completely unnecessary. More than that, extreme heat is dangerous, contributing to thousands of preventable medical emergencies and fatalities in the United States each year. Don't leave your family's comfort to chance. Martin and Epler will come out and perform comprehensive preventative maintenance on your unit to make sure it won't fail you in a critical time of need. I can tell you from personal experience that I trust them. I have seen the high quality work that they do, and they do not disappoint. Give them a call today at 423-951-6249. That's 423-951-6249.
All right, we're back here on Jake Miller Sports Talk. And Matthew, what an incredible interview with Adam Sparks of the Knoxville News Sentinel on knoxnews.com. What did you learn the most from that? Because, I mean, he hit us with a lot of points, and we talked a lot of Adidas.
I learned that you're a big uniform snob.
Matthew, you already knew that.
Well, fair enough. I don't know. I'm just excited about this Adidas merch. I don't normally buy Tennessee merch, like new, but I'm kind of excited. You know, maybe could I get you to use your military discount? You know,
we got connections.
Okay,
we can do stuff. We can make certain stuff happen. That, we just make stuff happen here.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, obviously Caden Poston is not with us tonight, but we still have Poston's playbook coming up
live on remote. You know, I think I'm about 3 Coke Zeros deep, and I don't think I'm ready for this.
Dude, I'm drinking a warm Diet Coke. You know what I should have done?
What?
Instead of having a co-host night, I should have sat my Diet Cokes right here, kind of like I did my my other canned beverages when I was in a fraternity in college.
Mountain Dew?
A little something extra to it, but yeah. It's time for Poston's playbook. What we got? This intro cracks me up every single time. There is nothing more Caden and Poston than the Poston's playbook intro.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Watch
Oh,
her
I
ability to
remember
roll.
this happened.
When she hits the
They
ground,
keep
nice roll.
doing this.
That's what they teach you in jiu-jitsu,
Oklahoma
Joe.
keeps doing this.
You gotta roll.
People fall out.
Use your shoulders.
People are like, oh my God, what has happened?
What's up, guys? This is Caden Poston here, Jake Miller Sports Talk co-host for Jake Miller. Obviously, I'm not in the studio tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Here for Poston's Playbook tonight, brought to you by Blue Detailing. So, I want you to think about this. That video, that is like me and Jake deciding to go an old-fashioned horseback ride with a wagon. That's what would happen. Because here's what would happen. Jake would be like, you need to go right.
Rolling into Charlie's and rolling in everywhere.
You need to go right, you need to go left. Well, here we are, our face in the dirt, realizing that I was just smarter than Jake was. That's your Poston's Playbook, brought to you by Blue Detailing. So, like, you think about this. Why is there so many issues with mascots and their issues? I mean, what do you do in this situation? I mean, you know this horse. Like, do you know how to drive this thing? Did they do a background check that you knew how to drive this wagon? Like, if you don't know how to drive a wagon, can you imagine driving a car? Think about it, Jake.
And one more thing before I leave to go to where I am at tonight, a funeral. I want to let everybody know I'm not making fun of somebody getting hurt. Like, that is terrible. But I want to know how do these things happen? But I'm not making fun of anybody getting hurt. It's terrible. I hope everything was okay. Everybody was okay. But yeah, But it seems like mascots just have problems sometimes.
First of all, how come he don't fix his hair like that when he comes in here? That's my first question. My second question, why did it look like he was at my house?
Why is there so...
Why does that look like my house? Matthew, did he do that at my house?
Maybe.
Someone screenshot that and make that his new profile picture on Facebook. My goodness.
This is what I was saying, the look that a girl gives Caden when he tries to do a pickup line.
Oh, no. My goodness. Poor Poston. Man alive. That is Poston's Playbook presented by our friends at Blue Detailing. What do they have your car doing? Shining. That is Caden's favorite thing. Shining. Blue Detailing in Jacksboro. Whether you're just looking to get your car cleaned out, have it shining. Travis, Felicia, Logan, they all do a fantastic job down there. Give them a call today. Check them out on Facebook. Go look at the work they've done. They actually just did some work for a police department, and I thought it was a fantastic job. You know why? Because Travis and Felicia put pride and take a lot of care and put a lot of effort into what they do. And that's why I trust them, and that's why you should too. Call Blue Detailing today. Matthew, got something for you.
What you got?
Guess what comes out next Thursday?
College football 27, Jake.
Yes, it does, and Team Builder is officially live. So, rocking the Campbell County gear today. Rocking the Campbell County gear. And I've already said the word Team Builder, so you can already put together what I'm trying to do. But Matthew, they've actually made it to where you can actually choose the backdrop. Now, it's not just one generic backdrop. You can pick your backdrop. You can customize the stadium. You can customize the Jumbotrons. If you want to do a checkered crowd or a striped crowd, you can do that now in Team Builder. Custom uniforms, custom helmets. And guess what I'm going to do? Guess what me and my ADHD are going to do when I have free time on my days off?
What's that?
I'm going to be making the most random teams I can make. There will be a Jake Miller Sports Talk team. And for some of our loyal commenters, our loyal listeners, guess what? The tagline for EA Sports, Matthew, EA EA Sports. It's in the game. And guess what? You're a loyal listener to the show, a loyal commenter. You always chime in. You always message me. Guess what? You're in the game on Jake Miller Sports Talk University.
Even Shane Brown?
Shane Brown.
Even I can't think of anybody else.
Shane Brown.
Even Brian Osborne?
We'll put Brian on there.
He commented. What about? I don't know about
Put DJ on there.
I don't know about Matthew Bowens. He said burn all the orange.
He can be the backup punter.
There you go.
Love you, Bowens. But, George Hooks, Brent McNeely, Gunnar St. John, Gage Highslope, all the guys that interact with our stuff. Guess what? You're in the game, and you're playing for Jake Miller University.
Coach O?
What's that?
Coach O?
Coach Jake Miller. Quarterback, Jake Miller.
But is Omi going to be in the game?
Omi's going to be in the game. Yeah. Omi's going to be in the game. Romero's going to be in the game. Drummer's going to be in the game. Actually, I need to talk to Drummer about that because he was in a video game and did not earn a single dime for being in that video game. So when he played at the University of Tennessee, that was when they could put his number and his skin color in the game, but they couldn't put his name. So they used his name, image, and likeness and didn't get a dime for it because you couldn't back then. If this were today's rules, Coach Drummer would be in the game. Hunter White, you're in the game. C.J. Allen, you're in the game. Les Martin, you're in the game. Brent Allen, starting middle linebacker. Jim Freeman, you're in the game.
What's he going to play?
We got to protect Jim at all costs. I think we ought to make him the kicker. They're the most protected position on the field. So we're going to protect Jim at all costs.
Oh, is Bill quarterback?
Oh, no, Bill's the punter.
Okay.
If things get going bad, Bill's got to put it in the right direction, so we're going to make him the
punter, right?
What's that?
He's an all-time leading punter, right?
Of course.
He sets records.
Well, the thing is, he's not going to be doing a lot of work because Jake Miller's going to be marching the team down the field and putting it in the end zone. Derek Lee Anderson, you're in the game. Who? What's that?
Quarterback?
I don't know. The last game when I made Jake Miller University, he was a really good defensive end.
Huh.
Yeah, he was the
See that?
yeah, he was the college football leader in tackles that season. Aaron Hopkins, you're in the game. Who else? We have to put Derek Marlowe in the game.
Oh, what about Dwayne Kitts? Is he in the game?
Oh, Dwayne Kitts is my starting center. I trust that man with my life. Put the mailman at center and let the mailman go to work. You have dropped your phone. You're laughing so hard.
It's Apple. It's built good.
That's right. But, yeah, I'm actually going to do that because, I mean, guys, I'll call it like it is. If I have free time, my options are either watch TV, and I don't really watch that much TV unless it's college football, college basketball, what have you. But, of course, my free time, we're going to dedicate it to this. And it will be at WLAF Stadium at Jake Miller Field.
And, I mean, we can't just tell people about this. We got to show them, right?
Oh, they're going when I get it up and running here after a while, we're going to post it to the page. And we're going to add my username to it to where people can actually just search by the username and download immediately.
Nice.
Now, granted, we might need to wait until next week to do this because, quite frankly, the game's not out yet. But we might have some cool-looking uniforms, Matthew. I'm thinking of blue and orange.
Oh, St.
What?
Brown said 6'3", 245 pounds, and a 6-second 40.
A 6-second 40.
Leave me out of skill position areas.
Well, Shane, here's the deal, buddy. You're going to be a 99 overall, a 99 in every category. It doesn't matter which position I put you at. You're just going to dominate. Actually, you know what I might do? I might put Aaron Hopkins at one defensive back and put Shane Brown at the other.
That could be the move.
That could be the move. Who knows? Could be Shane or Aaron that's leading the league in interceptions for the year. Derek Lee Anderson's probably going to lead us in tackles for a loss. You might be right there with him, Matthew,
Who knows?
because you're the other starting defensive end.
Man, I'm excited about this.
Oh, yeah. No, we're about to have fun. We're about to have fun with this because Bottom line, we can. Guess what? We're all freshmen, true freshmen, so we've at least got 3 seasons. We can full-blown dominate.
Dwayne Kitts said, "Great show, guys." I love that guy.
I love Dwayne Kitts.
He's great.
Can we put his dad in it?
Yes.
So, fun fact about his dad, he and my papaw actually grew up together in Duff. And then we found out a couple of weeks ago that Dwayne's dad and I were in the same Army Reserve unit.
Ooh.
That's very rare.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're just going to have fun with this. Because bottom line, there are no rules to it. They're my rules. I can boo whoever I want in the game. So guess what? If it's in the game, it's in the game. And that's going to do it for us. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, everybody. Something else coming up next year on WLAF. Tune in next week for Jake Miller Sports Talk right here on WLAF.